Hello, I'm Mason Vanderlucht, Adult Services Librarian for the Waynesville Library. Today we're going to make this crochet snowflake. This video is being put out as instructions for a take and make kit that will go out February of 2026. But if you're watching this after then, you can make the same project with materials readily available at any craft store. Included in the kit is one crochet hook, 5 millimeters in diameter, 15 yards of 3 or DK weight yarn, and 24 push pins. This project is a bit more involved than some other take-and-make kits we've made, so if you have any questions, please feel free to call me at 356-2507 or email me at mason.vanderlucht@haywoodcountync.gov. Thank you to the Friends of the Library for funding this program, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Before we begin with the project, I'm going to introduce some basic crochet concepts for those who are first learning to crochet. We'll begin by making a slip knot. Turn one end of the yarn back toward the yarn ball, then turn over where the yarn is turned, creating a loop. Pull a loop from the yarn leading to the yarn ball, also known as your working yarn, then pull it through the first loop. Put your hook through this loop and pull on the working yarn. This should tighten the loop around your hook. Next, I'll show you how to hold your yarn and hook. This is a bit tricky to start, but with some practice, you will get the hang of it. Hold the yarn with your non-dominant hand, with the yarn ball to the outside and the project to the inside. Place the working yarn over your pinky finger, under your ring and middle fingers, and over your pointer finger. This will allow you to use the back of your pointer finger to adjust the tension on the yarn. Hold your work between your thumb and your middle finger. Hold your hook in your dominant hand as you would a kitchen knife, with a point extending from your thumb. This will allow you to easily rotate the hook, which you'll do constantly while crocheting. Next, we'll make a chain. To do this, you'll move the end of your hook under and behind the working yarn. This is called yarning over. Turn your hook a quarter turn counterclockwise to grab the working yarn, then pull it through the loop that's on the hook. Repeat this several times and you've created a foundation chain which you can crochet into. At any point, if you notice you skipped a step or made a mistake, you can undo what you've done by removing your hook from your work and pulling on the working yarn. Next, we'll do a single crochet. To do this, you'll insert the end of your hook through the next stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop through the stitch. You should now have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both loops on your hook. The project we'll be making is mostly chains and single crochet, but we will learn and use 2 more stitches, the double crochet and the slip stitch. Before we start on that, I want to mention that a single crochet stitch looks different than your foundation chain. Each stitch looks like a less than symbol, or a V turned 1/4 clockwise. Unless your pattern says differently, you want to insert your hook under the full V-shaped stitch, not just the front or back loop of it. On to double crochet. To make this stitch, you'll yarn over before you insert your hook into the next stitch. Insert your hook, pull up a loop. You should now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, then yarn over again and pull through the 2 remaining. The final stitch we'll use in this project is called a slip stitch. To do this, you'll insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and pull a loop through both the stitch and the loop on your hook. With that, we're ready to begin on our snowflake. We'll start by creating our slip knot, then we'll chain 6, and create a ring by joining the first chain with the last using a slip stitch. For the first round, we will chain 1, then single crochet into the loop 12 times. Note that we're actually crocheting around the initial chain, not into it. That is, when we insert our hook to pull up the loop for the single crochet, instead of putting it into the stitches of the initial chain, we'll put it into the middle of the ring we created. It can be a little tricky to fit 12 single crochets into that space, but make sure you don't overlap the later stitches over the earlier ones. Undo work if you need to make sure that all 12 single crochet stitches are accessible, as we'll need to crochet into these in the next round. Finish the round by joining your last and first single crochets with a slip stitch. You will end with this thick ring. For the second round, we'll start by chaining 3, then double crochet into the same stitch. We'll chain 3 again, skip 1 stitch, then double crochet twice into the next stitch. We will repeat this pattern until we have a kind of wheel with 6 spokes, each made of 2 double crochets, joined along the outside with chains of 3. We will finish the round by joining the final chain 3 with the third chain of the initial chain 3 of the round using a slip stitch. For the third round, we'll chain 1, then single crochet into the next stitch, which will be the first double crochet of the second round, not including the initial chain 3. Then, into the space between the chains of 3 from the last round, single crochet twice, chain 5, and single crochet twice again. Single crochet into the double crochets from round 2, and repeat this pattern until you reach the beginning of the round. We'll join the last single crochet and first single crochet with a slip stitch. You should be left with a wheel or hexagon with loops of 5 chains on the outside of the spaces created in the second round. For the fourth and final round, we will chain 3, then single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches, then into the space of the loops from round 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 5, single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet again. Skip the next 2 stitches, then, as we did at the beginning of the round, single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into the next stitch. Continue in this way until you reach the beginning of the round, where we will join the final chain 2 into the initial single crochet using, you guessed it, a slip stitch. You should be left with a hexagon from the end of round 3, where each loop has a loop of chain 3, chain 5, and chain 3, and the spaces between the round 3 loops each has a loop made of a chain 3. Depending on the evenness of your crocheting, which mostly depends on your level of experience, what you've created may or may not look like a snowflake. But don't worry, we're not quite done yet. Pull a bit more working yarn through your final slip stitch, then cut, leaving a tail of about 2 inches. Weave this and the tail from the start of the project into the nearby stitches by inserting your hook into the next stitch and pulling the yarn tail through. You should weave it through at least 4 or 5 stitches, but don't need to weave in the full 2 inches. Our final step, we will neaten the appearance of the snowflake using a technique called blocking. We will wet the snowflake either by spraying it with water, running water over it, or dunking it in water. It doesn't need to be very wet, but don't wring out or squeeze out the excess moisture if you don't have a spray bottle. Just hold it over a sink and let it run off. Next, we'll pin the work to a corkboard or a cardboard box, gently stretching the piece evenly to define its features. We will use 1 pin for each of the loops created in the final round, but I recommend first pinning all of the loops of chain 5s, then all of the loops of chain 3s halfway between the chain 5s, then all of the loops of chain 3s on either side of the chain 5s. Let this air dry, which will take about an hour depending on how wet it started. When you remove the pins, the work should keep its shape and show the delicate features created by the small loops. If you've made it this far, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed the project and didn't have too much difficulty with the instructions. If you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me at 356-2507 or mason.vanderlucht@haywoodcountync.gov. Thank you for participating in this program. From all of the staff at the Waynesville Library, we appreciate your patience and flexibility around the library renovation and look forward to seeing you back in the library soon.